Some lucky people in this world have literally cheated that. Think about it. If someone falls from a plane 10,000 feet in the air, you would assume they are gone for sure, right? Or if a meteor goes straight through someone's head from one side to other, there's no way he survives that, right? But here's the mind-blowing part. In today's video, you will hear the real-life stories of people who survived the most impossible insane accidents. Trust me, you don't wanna miss this. Those stories are not just unbelievable, they are straight up terrifying. Jose Salvador Alberenga was a fisherman who went missing in the ocean for 438 days and somehow he made it back alive. It all started in November 2012. Jose, a Mexican fisherman, set up on a fishing trip with his crew Ezequiel Cardova. They left the coast of Mexico, planning to fish in the deep water for about 30 hours away. But just 2 days in, the weather took a terrifying turn. A violent storm rolled in, with winds blowing at nearly 50 miles per hour. Their small boat was hit by massive waves and pushed deep into the open ocean. At first, they had hope. Joshi had a two-way radio, and once the storm stopped a bit, he managed to call his boss and explain their situation. And then the worst happened. Their radio's battery died and the signal was lost. Still, Joshi tried to keep Ezekiel calm, telling him that a rescue team would come to rescue them. Then another big storm started, and for 5 days, the massive waves carried their boat into the deep sea. On the other hand, rescue teams searched for 2 days but could not find them. And because of the bad weather, the operation was called off. When the storm finally ended, Joshi noticed that all the electronic equipment on their boat was completely destroyed. They were lost in the middle of the ocean with no idea where they were. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. They ran out of supplies. To survive, they began eating raw turtles, jellyfish, and birds they could catch by hand. For water, they collected rain, and when it didn't rain, they drank turtle blood and even their urine. After 4 months, Ezekiel could not take it anymore. He lost hope, stopped eating, and eventually died. Joshi was now completely alone, but he refused to give up. Finally, after 438 days, he saw a small island in the distance. But that was his only chance. He jumped into the water and swam to the island. On the island, two locals walking on the beach saw him. They rescued him and rushed him to the hospital. Joshi recovered and finally, over a year lost at sea, he made it home. Julian Koepik fell 10,000 feet from a plane into the Amazon jungle and somehow survived. It was December 24th, 1971, just one day before Christmas. 17-year-old Julian was flying with her mother from Lima to Pucallpa, Peru on Lanza Flight 508, along with about 90 other passengers. Everything seemed normal until about 25 minutes after takeoff, suddenly a terrible storm hit. The plane began to shake due to the thunder and turbulence. Sitting by the window, Julian could see blinding flashes and lighting outside. Then boom, a deafening explosion. The plane literally broke apart in midair. Julian, still strapped to her seat, was thrown from the plane, falling from nearly 10,000 feet, that's around 3 kilometers, straight toward the jungle below. But something miracle happened. She did not hit the ground at the full speed. His seat caught in the trees of the Amazon jungle, slowing him down, and she only suffered minor injuries. She lay unconscious on the forest floor for a whole day. When she finally woke up, she found that he had a small minor injuries on her body. And only a few meters away, she saw a bag of chocolates, the only food he had. She started walking with the bag of chocolates, and finally, after 11 days, some local loggers and villagers found him. They rescued her immediately and got her medical help. Later in life, Julian turned this experience into a purpose. She became a biologist and researcher known today as Dr. Julian Koepik. Harrison Oken was trapped at 60 hours underwater in a sunken ship at the bottom of the ocean and somehow he survived. It all happened on May 23, 2013. A tugboat off the coast of Nigeria was headed into the middle of ocean to help transport oil. At first, everything was fine, but around midnight, the boat suddenly lost balance and capsized, flipping upside down in the ocean. And that exact moment, Harrison was in the bathroom. Because of the tilt and pressure, he could not open the door no matter how hard he tried. Fortunately, the boat had a special locking system, due to which water did not enter the bathroom even though the boat was submerged in the ocean around 30 meters deep. The water pressure there was so high that even if he came out of the bathroom, he could die immediately. So he stayed inside, trapped with darkness, cold, surrounded by death, with only a sliver of hope keeping him going. He had no food, no drinking water, and worst of all, the ship was filled with bodies of his crew. He survived for 60 hours, almost 3 days, on some air trapped in the bathroom. Finally, after 60 hours, a rescue team found the ship's location. They went down not for the rescue but to recover dead bodies. As the diver entered a cabin to search for dead body, a hand suddenly reached out to him. The diver panicked at first, but then realized it was Harrison, still alive, still fighting to survive. The diver quickly alerted the rest of the team, and Harrison was slowly pulled out of the water. But pulling Harrison out wasn't easy because the sudden change in the pressure could kill him. So the team used a special diving bell to bring him up slowly. Then kept him in a decompression chamber for 3 days to stabilize his body. Eventually, Harrison recovered. This terrifying experience changed his life forever. And today, believe it or not, he works as a professional deep sea diver. Phineas Gage is a human who survived despite having an iron rod go through his skull from one side and out the other. Back in 1848, 24-year-old Gage working on a new railroad line in the United States. His job blasting rock using dynamite so the trucks could lead more easily. It was a dangerous job, but he was good at it. On day like usual, Gage was placing dynamite inside a crack in the rock and filling it with soil. That day he was probably using an iron rod to remove some small stones from the side of the dynamite. And as he did so, the dynamite catch fire due to the friction of the iron and stone. Boom, the dynamite exploded. That very same iron rod, over 3 feet long, shoot straight into Gage's bottom of his head, entered below his left eye, went straight through his brain, and blasted out the top of his skull, landing 80 feet away. As incredible as it may sound, Gage still did not lose consciousness. His co-workers ran over in panic, only to find him standing and even talking. They rushed him to a nearby hospital, where the doctor found a massive hole on his skull. The dude was unbreakable. Gage survived this whole thing and lived for another 12 years. However, this accident damaged an important part of his brain, especially the frontal lobe. Before the accident, Gage was known as calm, smart, and responsible. Afterward, he became angry, reckless, and unpredictable. Some people do survive the most unbelievable accidents, just like the stories you saw in today's video. But on flip side, some people lost their lives in the most bizarre and ridiculous way, all because their own mistake. If you want to hear those strange and even funny death stories, check out this video right here. And if you enjoyed this one, don't forget to drop a like and hit the subscribe button. We look forward to seeing your beautiful faces again. Thank you.